Our second speaker is Sheila, and Sheila is presenting her second project in the storytelling manual entitled Get Personal. Our second speaker, Sheila.
Imagine you come face to face with God and she's a large black woman. This is the scenario that the book, The Shack, written by William P. Young, puts forth. Now, this is a book that has caused all kinds of comments and all kinds of reflections. I don't know what he thinks he's doing, actually. This is a book that didn't find a publisher. None of the Christian publishers wanted it because it was too controversial. None of the secular publishers wanted it because it was too Christian. So they created a publishing house just for this book. Now, as a bookseller, I cringe when I hear something like that. I have seen too many self-published books that are atrocious. But with perfect aplomb, he and his friends put together a publishing company. They put a marketing blitz on the computer. And now Fredericksburg, Texas is talking about this book. Haven't we had enough battering of the Christian beliefs, from happy holidays to senators being sworn in on the Koran, and now this book? And to make it worse, we've had a plethora of books. We've had Conversations with God, which is obviously, well, not obvious from the title, but obviously it is not a Christian book. To Dinner with a Perfect Stranger. What would it be like to sit down and have dinner with Jesus? Now that's a very fun book. The Shack is much, much more intense. And again, I don't know what he's thinking about. A fun book that's an apologetic is one thing. But this book, where you confront the preconceptions that we each have about God, what does he think? People are going to put up defenses. One case in point, a woman came in before I had read the book, while I was still trying to find time to read the book, and nobody would tell me anything about it because they wanted me to read it. A woman came in who had read the book, or at least part of it, and I asked her what she thought. And she said, it's awful. First of all, God, it comes in as a large black woman, and it's a she. Everyone knows that God is not a she. God is a he. It says so in the Bible. We were created in his image. There's one little part in the Bible where it says he created him, they created him, male and female. But besides that, it says he all the way through the Bible, and men are supposed to be the leaders in the family and in the church. And it is a real come down for God to be a woman. I kind of looked at myself and looked at her, took a deep breath, and said, I think it might be a real come down for God to be seen as either a man or a woman. God is so much bigger. He is so much other than either one. I'm sorry, John. God is more than man or woman. And to think of him in those images gives us a way of picturing him and dealing with him. But he's neither. He is spirit. So she went on to say, I don't care. Adam was created as a man. Jesus came back as a man. God is a man. And I said, finally, I said, I think it might be really good for us to confront some of these preconceptions. It might be good, even though I hadn't read the book, it might be good to take God out of the boxes that we put him in. And I went on to tell her a story that had happened to me. It was on the day of that grueling ropes course, and then another ropes course, and then another challenge. It was at the end of the day of this horrible day. horrible for me. As far as physically and emotionally, I was a wreck. But at the end of that day, we were supposed to climb a wall. It was about 12 feet high or maybe higher. It looked enormous. We couldn't talk to one another. The whole team could help one another, but we couldn't talk. So basically the idea was that we would make a pyramid and climb on top of each other. People from the top could help us, but you couldn't hit the sides of the wall and the leaders couldn't help us. So at the end, what you can imagine, the last person had no one to climb on. That was the most difficult task to perform. And so as he made a running jump trying to reach the hands that were reaching down, he slipped. So the leader from the side reached over and helped him. Someone from the back yells, "Hey, that's not fair." The leader says, "It was the hand of God." It so happened our leader was black. Someone from the crowd says, "I didn't know God was black." I was stunned. My first image was the Christmas song that some children see him. Do you know that song? Some children see him lily white with tresses soft and fair. Some see him bronze and brown with very thick, thick hair. Some children see him as themselves because what was born on that day was love. And I'm thinking this really fast and have no way of saying anything. The leader confronts that and he says, "Sometimes she lets me." I just went thumbs up, not because I believe God is a she, but because it confronted, it was the perfect comeback for confronting the things, the way we put God in a box. This book that I'm talking about, The Shack, by William P. Young, takes God out of some of those boxes. It is well worth your reading. And the closer walk has them.